Yes, Greece is our top holding because of the improvement in the economic institutions that country has undertaken under this current government. I think it's important for your listeners to keep in mind that 80% of excess returns in emerging market funds are explained by which country you're invested in, not which sector or which stock. And so when we talk about investments, we talk about countries and focus on countries. And what we've seen in Greece is that the government has improved the rule of law that has helped banks clean up their balance sheets. They've reduced corporate taxes. And so what we've seen in the Greek stock market just in the last year is a 50% return. And yet that market's still 7.5 times earnings with nearly a 4% dividend yield. So these improvements in the economic institutions, which, by the way, are probably going to lead to investment-grade credit rating in that country by the end of the year, do two things. They lower the discount rate on equity assets. Doesn't really matter which stock you own. They all go up when these economic institutions improve. And it also improves the cash flows in terms of, say, lowering the taxes. Or we find a case that where Greece, once the country that almost brought down the Eurozone experiment, is now the second fastest growing economy in Europe.
China is the second largest holding, Marshall. Can you walk us through what informed that decision when we are seeing no shortage of problems associated with the debt situation and the macroeconomic environment?
Yes. So China's the largest holding in the MSCI Emerging Markets Index, approaching 30%. It's about half of that in our fund. I think where we are with China is we certainly have an economic cycle and probably a financial cycle ahead of us as we continue to see additional defaults in the property space and a real lack of demand-side confidence there in China. But what has us moderately optimistic to even hold half of the benchmark index's weight is the country's probably pragmatically, as a necessity, going to need to focus on improving economic freedom, to rekindling those animal spirits that we saw nearly a decade ago that led to the sharp economic growth and entrepreneurial spirit in China.